सतार्जनां शारनादिमघितवैभव पूरिता किल दीर्घते पूरिता किल दीर्घते शारदे करुणानिधे सकलानवां सतार्जनां भस्मभूषण भूषिते वररत्नमो.
This is a late but never too late invitation and a presence in Kumaraguru. I know your experience and expertise is something that many of us know, but somebody who I have sat listening in meetings where he never stopped sharing what he wanted to share from his heart and his mind and experience, irrespective of what was the context. And that was still last evening when he was candid about many things that people like us should do. Mr. Kumar Jain, thank you for your leadership, your partnership, and your openness to associate with us in this important aspect, and your experience from the various portfolios that you've had before, and including labor, I think is very, very topical. Thank you for your presence. Ms. Anuja Vapat, Deputy Director General, Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, on her maiden visit to Coimbatore, thank you very much. I welcome you, and it's very important that you're here with us because this is a topic which is highly relevant to your ministry, but also to this region and the future of India. And in conversation with you, I also understand that your intent and interest is very deep, and we look forward to engaging and listening to you. Mr. C.K. Sajinarayan, the former National President of the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, BMS, thank you for being here with us. Your perspectives, your experience in this topic is very important because you have represented, you have understood things across the country, and thank you for being with us, coming all the way from Thrissur. Thank you very much. We have Mr. Sanjay Aswati, Head of Office, International Organization for Migration. We have to remember that this is a topic not necessarily when we start thinking about it, we think of it as a local industrial issue, or sometimes we think of it as a state context, or we think of it as a national. But we have to remember that this is an international issue. You being here with us is very important to give us flavors, experiences, and also knowledge from across the world. Thank you very much. The last but certainly not the least, Mr. C. Devarajan, Vice Chairman of CII Tamil Nadu, and also Managing Director of URC Construction, somebody I can call for two terms. I can say an elder that I respect, but also almost a friend that I work with. Somebody I say a friend not because I can claim to be close to his age, but certainly somebody who treats other people like a friend. Mr. Devarajan is leading CII Tamil Nadu. That is the hat that he wears on this dais, but also somebody who works in infrastructure in the country with thousands and thousands of labor, with workers, with skilled, fantastic workers from around the country. His understanding of this whole topic is very, very important. Thank you, Mr. Devarajan, for your presence. Of course, we have Mr. Sunil Mishra, who is my partner in this effort, somebody with long years of experience in CII and other organizations. And we have been trying to curate, and he is the man, and along with his team, who has worked from Delhi to ensure that this is happening in the right context, with the right topics, with the right people. Mr. Sunil, thank you for your presence. I welcome you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Confederation of Indian Industry, and I want to tell you that CII views itself not as an industry federation alone. CII views itself as a development organization for the country. While it represents maybe its focal aspect is to represent various industries and a whole cross-section of industries around the country, it is the largest organization. It is one of the oldest organizations in the country. But CII views itself as an important player in trying to build policy, in trying to build the intellect, and trying to build experiences for India, for India's economic development. And in this, what is very important is the fact that India's labor force has to be amongst the best in the world. for which CII has to ensure that the right context, the right knowledge, the right experience is for millions of our young and mature workers in the country. This task force does not view itself as only the aspect of coming from industry, but it's an ecosystem play. That is why this roundtable is not looking at it from a skewed view, but is looking at it from a very, very broad aspect. We are very, very honored for the partnership. We are very, very honored for everybody's openness. This is a maiden attempt, I must say, if I can say that. This is a maiden attempt, but certainly not something that we think of it as a pilot of a one-off. We want to do this in multiple locations around the country. We want to hear voices on the ground. We want to hear experiences. We want to build a consciousness on how things can be done much better. I want to say that the aim is to move beyond just sound bites and noises into actionable insights, where one can influence policy, institutional frameworks, and importantly, workplace practices. Coimbatore is a region that has benefited economic development. This whole region and Tamil Nadu as a whole and many industrial states like Tamil Nadu have very much benefited by the best of workforce from around the country, local and national. We urge participants to challenge assumptions, share evidence, bring lived experiences into conversation. Naturally, this is a start, and this is where we have to begin with starting to understand each other. Our objective is not to simply exchange views, but identify concrete pathways. The outcomes of this conference or roundtable or conversation should be to inform future policy discussions, institutional strategies, and collaborative initiatives. The responsibility to improve conditions for migrant workers does not naturally only rest with single stakeholders, but it has an ecosystem. It is a shared responsibility across borders, sectors, institutions. How we treat migrant workers is ultimately a reflection of our values as a society and as an economy. By coming together, we signal our commitment to fairness, dignity, and inclusion into the world of work. We hear very often in India statistics which keep saying every year what we bring into the workforce is almost equals a few countries of Europe's population, which means India's opportunity or India's challenge is very, very significant. It is a unique position in the world in multiple things, but certainly in terms of people, labor, and the workplace. I hope today's discussions are candid, constructive, and forward-looking. May this conference also mark a moment where conversation gets aligned into actions. While today's dialogue is a start, we want this to continue in different parts, as I said. Our aspiration is to work with different governments, different industrial ecosystems, different geographies to make sure that we are getting multiple voices, because this is a moving piece. What might be today a conversation in Coimbatore will be very different in Pune, will be very different in Guwahati, will be very different in Rajasthan or wherever else. So this is something that we want to do in the year ahead, and hopefully we have a format today. The Honorable Minister has shown keen interest in the roundtable. He could not be with us, but he has graciously sent a video message which we will hear naturally after this. But what is very important is the government is keen, the ecosystem players are here, and industry is here, and hopefully we will build this even further. I once again want to appreciate and acknowledge the work of the team involved in the CII ecosystem, but certainly who work with this task force. Some of them here, many of them who are in Delhi, I'm sure, participating in their own way. We want to say that this is a start, and we will work on this. I look forward on behalf of the task force, and there are many, many members in the task force who are also given wonderful suggestions. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would not stay longer between the dialogue that is to begin, and certainly after me, we will listen to the Honorable Minister speak, and we look forward.
Privilege of viewing a video message from Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, Honorable Union Minister of Labour and Employment, Government of India, addressing the National Roundtable and sharing his reflections.
नमस्कार साथियों, मुझे अत्यंत प्रसन्नता है कि CII द्वारा माइग्रेंट वर्कफोर्स जैसे अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण विषय पर एक नेशनल राउंड टेबल का आयोजन किया जा रहा है। यह अपने आप में रहा है। यह अपने आप में सराहनीय पहल है कि CII ने उद्योग और श्रमिक दोनों के प्रतिनिधित्व के साथ डायलॉग बेस्ड प्लेटफॉर्म तैयार किया है, जहां ग्राउंड रियलिटीज़ और पॉलिसी पर्सपेक्टिव्स एक साथ सामने आ रहे हैं। आज माइग्रेंट वर्कफोर्स केवल एक श्रम वर्ग नहीं, बल्कि भारत की ग्रोथ स्टोरी का साइलेंट बैकबोन है। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में सरकार ने वन नेशन वन रेशन कार्ड, ई श्रम पोर्टल, सोशल सिक्योरिटी कवरेज और पिछले साल 21 नवंबर के दिन हिस्टोरिकल लेबर रिफॉर्म्स लागू करते हुए ऐसे कई ट्रांसफॉर्मेटिव इनिशिएटिव्स के माध्यम से माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स के जीवन को सुरक्षित, सम्मानजनक और आत्मनिर्भर बनाने की दिशा में लगातार कार्य किया है। फिर भी हमें यह स्वीकार करना होगा कि हमें अभी भी बहुत मेहनत करनी है और ऐसे में इस तरह के राउंड टेबल पॉलिसी एडवोकेसी को अधिक प्रभावी बनाने में मंत्रालय को महत्वपूर्ण इनपुट्स प्रदान करते हैं। मुझे यह जानकर भी प्रसन्नता हुई है कि MSME मिनिस्ट्री, स्कूल एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स के प्रतिनिधि भी इस चर्चा का हिस्सा है। माइग्रेंट वर्कफोर्स की आवश्यकताएं आज मल्टी डायमेंशनल है और ऐसे में इन सभी मंत्रालयों की भूमिका बहुत क्रूशियल है। मैं आशा करता हूँ कि इस राउंड टेबल के की आउटकम्स और एक्शनेबल रिकमेंडेशंस को हम सभी मिलकर वन ग्राउंड इम्पैक्ट में परिवर्तित कर सके, ताकि ऐसा ही कोलैबोरेटिव अप्रोच हमें विकसित भारत 2047 के लक्ष्य के और निकट लेकर जा सके। दोस्तों, आज से 3 दिन बाद हम गणतंत्र दिन भी मनाने जा रहे हैं। वह दिवस जो हमें हमारे संविधान, समानता और सामाजिक न्याय के मूल्यों की याद दिलाता है। माइग्रेंट वर्कफोर्स के सशक्तिकरण की यह चर्चा संविधान के उसी स्पिरिट को मजबूत करती है जो भारत को एक मजबूत, समावेशी और आत्मनिर्भर राष्ट्र बनाती है। मैं इस सम्मेलन की सफलता की कामना करता हूँ और सभी प्रतिभागियों को अपनी शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ। धन्यवाद। वंदे मातरम।
Our sincere thanks to the Honorable Union Minister for sharing his reflections. Moving forward, we now invite a global perspective on migration and labor governance. May I request Mr. Sanjay Avasti, Head of Office, International Organization for Migration, to address the gathering.
Good morning, Mr. Shankar Vanavarayar, Ms. Anuja Bapat, Mr. Jayant, Mr. Devarajan, Mr. Saji Narayanan, and Mr. Sunil Mishra, distinguished colleagues and friends. It's my privilege to be here in Coimbatore, a city that in many ways embodies the dynamism and promise of India's internal migration story as an industrial powerhouse. Thank you, CII, for convening this important national roundtable on the migrant workforce and for bringing together all the crucial stakeholders at a very opportune time. As the International Organization for Migration, the UN Migration Agency, our work is focused on the needs and challenges faced by migrants, has given us a grounded view of migration journeys on the factory floor, in skill centers, and in migrants' accommodations. This vantage point reveals a dual narrative. On the one hand, there is aspiration and opportunity, while on the other, there are persistent gaps in recruitment practices, skill alignment, social protection, grievance redressal, and living conditions that continue to constrain migrant workers' security and their ability to thrive. To effectively and meaningfully address the complex challenges faced by migrants, our collective initiative must also be equally responsive. Drawing on IOM's work globally and our specific engagements across the country here in India, may I take this opportunity to share 4 strategic imperatives that demand our collective attention and action. The first one, which I would like to draw your attention to, is the recruitment process and the migration journey. So IOM strongly believes that a prospective migrant, whether it's a man or a woman, should have access to all the crucial sources of information to make an informed decision from the moment he or she begins considering migrating. Moreover, several studies have demonstrated that migration is largely aspirational. India has one of the most dynamic internal labor markets in the world, yet the gateway to it remains largely informal. Informal recruitment leads to misinformation and misaligned expectations. So, colleagues, the solution is not very complicated. Recruitment needs to be transparent, contracts must be written and understood in the workers' languages, and the recruitment costs should be borne by the employers, not the migrants. This aligns with the global employer pays principle. When a worker pays a fee to get the job, they often enter the workforce in debt. Debt is the first step towards exploitation. Formalizing this pathway does not just protect the workers, it cleans up the supply chain, reduces disputes, and improves retention. The second area which I would like to draw attention to is needs and problems of women migrants. Several studies and data are showing us that women are migrating in large numbers, but unfortunately, for women, the barriers are compounded. This is for women, enhanced access to state and corporate grievance mechanisms, multilingual support systems such as helplines, and information and awareness materials. We must align industrial ambition with occupational safety. We cannot speak of Make in India without speaking of making India safely. In sectors such as MSMEs and construction, the data on accidents remains a concern. We must leverage data to identify high-risk areas and target them with preventive measures and protective equipments. A safe worker is a productive worker, and safety compliance is increasingly a prerequisite for global market access. The next area which I would like to highlight is portability of social protection, something which I was really happy to have been included in the G20 Delhi Declaration also, wherein India had pushed for the portability of social security benefits across the world. But here, I am referring to the portability within the country. The scale and pace of interstate migration, especially from the northern and eastern to the southern states, is unprecedented. However, while the governments of several destination states, especially Tamil Nadu, have taken proactive measures to support such migrants, access to social protection benefits remains a challenge in certain areas. IOM had the privilege of leading the stakeholder consultations for the Niti Aayog-led voluntary national review on migration under the SDG process, which recognized that mobility is integral to achieving multiple SDGs. The direction of travel is unambiguous. Benefits and entitlements must move with the worker. A fragmented safety net produces a fragmented labor market. Distinguished colleagues, taken together, it is evident that internal workforce migration in India is not temporary. It is structural, it's going to stay, and it's going to grow. And therefore, it calls for a truly multi-stakeholder, whole of government and whole of society approach. At IOM, we see migration not as a challenge to manage, but as an opportunity to drive sustainable and inclusive economic growth. May I take this opportunity to congratulate CII and the hosts on hosting today's roundtable to turn insights into actions. I look forward to learning from today together to develop solutions that deliver real impact for migrant workers, India's continued growth to achieve the aspiration of Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring and energizing vision. Truly a powerful lens to begin this. Mr. C.K. Sajinarayanan, former National President, Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, to address the...
Universalization of labor laws. This we have raised. In G20, L20 was a part of, is a vertical of G20. There also we raised all the countries, member countries, they appreciated it. The last person has to be achieved. We based it on the theory of Antyodaya, the emancipation of the last person. So when we discuss about this migrant labor issue, pandemic days exposed the very serious gaps in the protection of labor in the country. We have heard about nearly 1 crore people traveled from the Western India to Eastern India. Many pregnant ladies, they were walking. Many people died on the railway lines and trucks, etc. All this we heard. Till that day, people didn't know that this is a grave issue in the country. Then the countries of the world also noted it. So the migrant, when we look at the migrant labor issues, I don't want to go into the issues or problems related to them, but what are the approaches, what are the solution part of it? The first solution is there should be universalization of labor protection for the last worker in the country. Second thing is, now the labor codes have come. Labor law, a new labor law regime has come in the country. It's after about 70, 80 years. This has come in the country. In the discussion, we were arguing for universalization, but on code on wages, now it is the first universal law in the country on minimum wages. The last person has got the right to minimum wages. This is a wonderful thing. If that is implemented properly, it will raise people above BPL. Then regarding OSH also, Section 6 is historic and revolutionary in the sense that every workplace has to keep the global standards on occupational safety and health. This is very important. Social security also, we tried our level best category, but ESI, one of the best health insurance scheme in the whole world. With a low premium, your entire family is covered about 6 benefits. It's a wonderful thing, but now it is covered to even one worker is working if it's a hazardous industry. So all the migrant workers also will come under this thing if they are working in a hazardous industry. Because in Gurgaon, Delhi area near Delhi, our capital city, nearly 20 accidents take place every day. Mostly in the supply chain, small workshops are there. Nearly 1 lakh such people are working there. Nearly 20 accidents take place every day. That means there is no safety, nothing. most of them are migrant labor, those who are coming from other places. Once they have accident, their fingers cut or hand is cut, they will be given a paltry amount and sent back. They will go to their village. Then it is their destiny. So in that phase, it is all things are taking place. Similarly, manhole deaths. It's very cruel. People are asked to go into pits. Then rat hole mines. Small mines are there, small people and children are asked to go into like rats going into the holes. These are all taking not in a small scale, it's taking place in large scale. All these are all related to migrant labor, those who are coming from other states only for getting an earning. In minimum wage discussion also we raised one issue. The primary cause for migration is there is a difference in wage levels. One state has one level of wages, another state has other stage. So mostly from eastern India, people are coming to western and southern India because there the wage levels are very high. So this wage disparity has to be reduced. But still that could not be achieved what the government has promised progressively. It will have to be taken this thing. So this imbalanced growth is one major issue that we have to consider. Then another thing is we have to consider labor as human beings. This is very important. I am very greatly honored to stand before an institution in Tamil Nadu because there is a great Raja Chola. I have seen his film and great actor Shivaji was acting as Raja Chola. Once he visited the Brihadeshwara temple when it was constructed. It is one of the largest temple in the whole world, one of the largest. So the sculptor was doing the work. And in between he extended his hand for spittoon. His assistant was to be there, but he went to something else. The Raja was standing behind. Immediately Raja took the spittoon and gave it to the sculpture. This is the culture Tamil people have shown to the entire world. This culture of accepting, honoring the ordinary worker, this has to be there. Treat worker as human beings with a dignified form. So the ILO's idea of decent work, that need to be implemented. Then previously we had an era of conflicts in the workplace. Now Bharatiya Mazdoor, my organization, is the largest central trade union. We have built up a new culture in the labor sector. We believe in confluence, not conflict. So we are transitioning from conflict to confluence. That cultural transition has to be there. So we consider the entire industry has to work as an extended family or a part of their family. So the employer has got a duty to even inquire, where are your children studying? If the employer's child is studying in America and Britain or some big business schools, they should ask the ordinary worker, where are your children studying? So this is the family feeling. That is during the pandemic time when COVID-19, there were many model ideal employers who have assisted the workers like anything. So BMS as a trade union, we called them, we honored them, we felicitated them openly. So that type of has to be there. Now formalization of informal worker, this is very important as far as migrant workers. Migrant workers are a category who are invisible. They are not, even today I don't think that there is a good statistics about how many migrant workers are working in the country. This is also, during the pandemic days, we faced that issue. So even how many people have gone back, there was a reverse migration. There are also nearly 1 crore people has gone. So the real migrant population will be very high. So e-shram registration, their portability, what Sanjay ji has said, portability of social securities, we have raised in L20 meeting, that was accepted. And the Honorable Prime Minister was very good enough to induct that aspect in the final declaration. So that is there. Then contractor cheating the migrant workers. This is very rampant, contractor. They don't take care of these people, they don't treat them as this thing. And poor ladies from tribal areas, they are working as domestic workers and they are the atrocious behavior to those people. It's taking place in countries. Many issues we are seeing. Their accommodation, all these things are there. Then gender issues are also there. Then lack of awareness in the minds of these workers. Many of them are coming from remote villages. They are coming for the first time in cities. They don't know this thing. So whatever they face, they take it as their own, it's my fate in that way. That has to be changed. They should be registered. Every migrant worker going from one state to another should be visible. They should be somewhere registered. They should come. Fortunately, the labor code has said every unit where even a single worker is working, that should be registered. But regarding appointment letter only, it is for establishments. Establishment means those who are having more than 10 workers. So even if one worker is working, he should be given an appointment letter. So that there is a recognition that he is a worker. That is there. Then the labor code has taken care of many things are there. Still, these migrant workers are outside many benefits of the law. So the ILO paradigm, the UN SDG goals, all these things are coming from as global standards. So the global standards has to be there. So I would expect employer organization, trade unions, and all social organizations to create an awareness. Even our courts doesn't know about international labor standards. They are not properly that way trained about international labor standards when they decide a question related to labor. So a new culture has to be developed, a human culture. Every migrant worker, every worker is a human being and is an extension of my family. If that culture is comes to reality, definitely we can have a great India, a Vikasit Bharat by 2047. With these words, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for articulating the realities of workers with clarity and conviction. Moving forward, may I now invite Ms. Anuja Bapat, Deputy Director General, Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, to address the gathering.
So, vanakkam. I had learned one more Tamil phrase, but I'm hesitant to. Nalla irakingla. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, CII, for inviting me for this this is a topic which is very close to my heart. So thank you for inviting me, and thank you for inviting me to a place where a lot of old faces and friends are here. So I'm really thankful for this today. I would also like to carry with me the wishes of Vasanta Panchami. In my part of the world, we do celebrate Vasanta Panchami. It's the beginning of the spring season, and the yellow symbolizes the spring season. That's why the sari. So wish you all a very happy spring season. May we all have the goodness of knowledge, the skill, the aspirations. That's what spring, symbolizes. So all of us walk together in the spring and make this country a big nation, the Vikasit Bharat, the country that we all dream of and we all feel proud about. Dignitaries on the dais, Kumar Jain sir, Mr. Shankar, Mr. Saji Narayan, Mr. Avasthi, Mr. Mishra, and Mr. Devarajan. Thank you very much. So I'll tell you so I'll not go into the data, and I come into this subject from three places. I'm an official statistician who has conducted the last detailed survey that NSS National Sample Survey did on migration in 2007-8. I was heading the Gujarat region of NSS that time, and so I supervised the data collection. I'll tell some anecdotes from there. I'm also somebody who worked on labor issues for 5 years and have have seen the migration issues being discussed, deliberated, and worked on them from a very close quarter. And now as somebody working in the Ministry of MSME on the policy issues, again, I look at it from the different perspective. But before that, I stand before you as probably one of the best examples of migration. I have lived in 27 cities, 7 states, and 35 houses. So within the country. And some months I have also stayed abroad, and I've also, filed the tax returns. So I think I stand here as the epitome of what migration can be, a good migration can be, because all of these memories are very happy memories. So I think when we talk about migration, and all these migrations have been in different roles. I have lived as a resident. I have migrated as a student. I have been a migrant as a wife. I have been a migrant as a worker. So when I look at migration, migration cannot be seen from a single lens. When we define migration, even today in the parlance, we say, if your last place of residence is different from your usual place of residence currently. So with this definition, there is a word called UPR. So with this definition, when we were doing the 7-8 NSS sample survey, every woman was a migrant. Even a 75-year-old woman was a migrant, an 80-year-old woman was a migrant, because everybody had migrated from one place where they were born, and they had come into a different place because they were married. Even today, if you look at the migration statistics, if in India, 28%, I think, is the overall migration. Let me check the data, I had it. And there is a stark difference between what the numbers for women and men. Yeah, so it is the migration rate in the recent periodic labor force survey has come out as 28.9%. It is only 5.9% for men and 48% for women. Again, because 86% of these women are migrating because of marriage. When we look at migration rate, this is essentially most of them are, the interstate migrants, because many of the times we do not catch within state migration. But a reality which we always ignore in the discussion is that a person always migrates to the nearest possible place. Nobody wants to go far away. It's always a match between the nearest possible and the aspirations. To the extent possible, everybody migrates to the nearest place. So even today, the within state migration far outnumbers the interstate migration. So probably we will have to broaden our definition to understand the migration. It has to be maybe an independent migrant, a dependent migrant, a child migrant, because the policy response will have to come differently from all these segments. All of us who live in metros, whether it is Delhi or Bombay or Chennai or even we see migrant labor coming in for semi-skilled jobs. Those who are coming as a skilled migrant do not face any issues, not many issues. Only those who come as semi-skilled or unskilled have problems. And this is again a very, seen phenomenon. All of us have seen this around us. So a loader comes to a bigger city, and that loader brings his family to the city. His wife, in some years, becomes either a gardener or a domestic worker. And if they are fortunate enough to live in a colony which is of the well-off people or the higher middle class, in due course of time, the wives start earning more than the menfolk. Because for domestic work, these days you pay far more than, and they have a more secure job in the sense, even if it is informal, because nobody can do without them. And then there is a different level of aspiration that is created amongst this group. So even that is one phenomena, because, and these are examples which I see because I think that we need to look at these people differently, how we can skill them, how we can, bring them to the, because otherwise, what migration does to me, as a policymaker, I can look at it from the industry, Ministry of MSME, which is an industry ministry point of view, or a labor. I primarily, in my course of, as I said, I have lived in 27 cities, I have seen different avatars of migration and how it affects the behavior, the governance issues, the way the city functions, the way consumer markets function, the way wage distortions happen. But, so I'll tell you one more example. When there are cheap colonies, as we call them loosely, where the lowly paid workers or the migrants live, you have cheaper modes of transport develop, not just cheaper modes of slum or the housing, or these cheaper modes of transport develop. Then we have issues of pollution, we have issues of uncleanliness. That has to, because they can't afford it. There is a class distinction that is created. But it also always doesn't work in the single direction. I'll give you a very interesting example of Surat. Surat has a huge number of migrant population. There is a large manufacturing, chemical, automobile sector there, textile, many industries. So in Surat, Bharuch, Ankleshwar, this area, you have those factory workers living in those accommodations provided by this industry. I'm talking of many years ago, must have changed. That time we were also doing the consumption expenditure survey. So you find that they belong to the lower paid class. And yet when you look at the consumption pattern, you realize that their consumption, average consumption, household consumption on day-to-day food items was much more than a low middle income class of the local residents. And then you wonder why. So I also found out. So we went to see these markets, what we do, a market survey for retail inflation. So we found that these workers were living in dormitories where 3 workers lived in single quarter. They used the same kitchen and they lived in shifts. So somebody was living from 7 to 3, the other one was living from 1 to 8, and so on, because it was an assembly line, 24-hour shift. So they used the same kitchen. So everybody got his daily ration every day. So what they bought was cooking oil pouch for one person for one meal, just like shampoo pouches. Masala pouches for one person for one meal, because they won't leave it for the other person who was coming in the next shift. Now this pouch costed more than the bulk, just like it happens. So when you do the consumption per capita, these people were spending more on per capita consumption, although they were earning less than the local families, because they were buying in bulk, living in their own kitchen. So these were the distortions, or these were the different, by these migrant workers. Somewhere and then of course there was a problem of everybody throwing the plastics away, then there was issues about that. These were chemical industries, they wanted the premise to be clean because there are regulatory requirements and things. So when I look at, so I'm just narrating these stories because I believe these stories tell you where all your interventions might be needed, besides the regular, class book or, classroom explanations that we give of migration. And from there, as I said, that people try to be as close to their place. Nobody wants to go far off unless there is a calamity, there is a natural disaster, there is something which is simply not simply wants him to go away from his place of residence. Otherwise, everybody wants to come back to, even the birds who fly overseas all the way from Saat Samandar se aati, they go back. So everybody wants to go back. That's my understanding. And so I believe that we need to look at this thing from both sides. Sometimes these migrant workers bring, these are not migrant workers, these are specializations also. When we look at not just the IT and not just the, highly skilled people. Say, for example, you look at the construction sector. Across, those who are in the construction sector would recognize that when you do have a plumbing job, you want people from Odisha to come. When you have a dhalai ka kaam, what we call, you want the people from Rajasthan to come, and they're highly paid people. You want them, they are, on demand. But the worker is on demand. What about his family? How do you accommodate them in that place? Maybe we are talking about now the universal social security. We are talking about the ESI coverage, extended to all these districts and to all these people for hazardous industry. We are talking about the Interstate Migrant Act, also recognizing the worker who is migrating on his own. So all these things are, taking care of more and more migrant workers, but I still feel that the migrant workers not always migrate alone. They migrate with a lot of with a culture, with an ecosystem, which has to be nurtured and which has to be taken care by both places, destination as well as the people who send them. So I think that's where I come from. And MSMEs also come, I believe, there. MSMEs are those who we have on Udyam portal. We have a registration portal, Udyam. Tamil Nadu is probably one of the best examples of how central government schemes can be, leveraged. I think I stand before a crowd who understands and who inculcates the entrepreneurial culture very well. So we have 8 crore, almost 7.5 crore enterprises, MSMEs registered on Udyam portal. Most of them are proprietary, most of them are micro, with very small number, which also shows that there is a possibility that if you create a right atmosphere and culture, maybe people will find their aspirational jobs in their own, locality, in their own vicinity. It's not to say that we need to discourage migration, but we also need to make sure that people do not have to simply, face the challenges they need not, when we can facilitate that as a very good platform for skilling the people, for taking care of the families that come back with them, for to create economic. To Vishwakarma is another scheme which we have recently started, although as of now the state is not participating. But similar schemes must be there in your state or other states also, where we look at the local local craftsman who is working alone without any support, and maybe he can be supported in his journey to become an entrepreneur or an enterprise or a sustainable economic activity. That will create a lot of ground for at least avoiding the distress migrations, because distress migrations are what cause the most disturbance. Other migrations are always healthy and welcome, and have a positive additivity to externality to the whole process. So I'll stop here. I think I have given some food for thought for the discussion today. I wish the discussion all the best. I hope we come out with good suggestions and recommendations, which I can also take back home, and we can discuss those even more. I thank you again, the CII and the organizing team, and it was wonderful to have students in the audience in Delhi. That is also one thing that we miss. We usually talk to the similar people. It's nice to have the next generation sitting here. All the best. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Your insights have added depth and clarity to our discussions and have set a strong direction for the deliberations ahead. We now move to a very important segment of today's program, the unveiling of the CII Compendium on Industry Best Practices on Rural Development. The compendium captures innovative models and scalable interventions in areas such as rural livelihoods, skilling, social infrastructure, responsible employment practices, worker welfare, and the integration of migrant workers into local ecosystems. Collectively, these examples demonstrate that economic growth and social responsibility can and must go hand in hand. I would like to invite the knowledge partner, Mr. Amit Majumdar, Senior Director EY, to join the dignitaries on the dais to unveil the report. May I request all the dignitaries on the dais to please unveil the report. I request a big round of applause as we proceed with the unveiling. Thank you, dignitaries, for formally unveiling the CII compendium. Moving forward, it is an honor to invite our chief guest, Mr. Kumar Chend, IAS, Chairman and Managing Director, Tamil Nadu Industrial Investment Corporation Limited, to deliver the keynote address.
Respected dignitaries on the dais and my dear participants from industry, labor, and the students. It is indeed a great opportunity for me to be present here at the start of this national roundtable on Migrant, started by CII. So first of all, let me convey my appreciation to CII for starting this dialogue. Kids are in Bangalore. My daughter is for 5 years. My son has been there for 7 years, with 2 years in Udaipur. Both of them still are in my ration card in Chennai. Both of them are still, even after this SIR, in my voter ID, my address voter ID. Both of them have passports in Chennai address. So except there, if the 3 or 4 of them live in a flat, so one of them will have the rental address or rental agreement, EB bill, will be mostly in the owner's name. So they have no document except the job document saying that they live in Bangalore. Now this is the situation almost at the top of the pyramid, barring very few who go there. So you can imagine when we talk of the actual migrant workforce, what will be their situation. So we don't have a definition. If somebody is in a construction work, what rights should he have beyond labor rights? Is he a resident? Should he be a voter? If he wants to take a passport, should he get the address? On what basis? And this gets further complicated if the family is split, as Madam was saying. Only the man has come, his family is in the native place. So then what happens to the ration card? How do you define? Giving facility or trying to think of way to giving facility is the next step. We are stuck at the first step itself. If somebody is coming as a batch for 6 months, will he be treated as resident? Construction sector may be problematic because they may be at one site for 2 years, then they will go to somewhere else. But there are other sectors. If you take Chennai, hotel sector, security sector, which is constantly growing, most of the migrants are there. I have been personally seeing the same loader in Koi Padamudir for 3-4 years. So that is the time frame, which is, like Anuja Madam said, she also stays 3 years, 4 years in different jobs. An income tax officer, if I had got 20 marks less, I would have been in income tax. So I would have never stayed anywhere for more than 3 to 4 years. But should I not be resident for that period where I am staying? Now the time has come to think of all these things, and we have today we have the technology, we have Aadhaar, UPI, bank account, EPF, pension, all of it is on the web. with personal identity biometrics. So today it is not very difficult to say that if you have done 1 year, you be a resident here. Get the definition. When you go somewhere else, you get shifted. In governance, nothing is easy. If you give this, then the problem is what happens to if the family is split. I think the food and cooperative department had started an initiative for portability of ration card, how to give. Now, these things are not easy, so I would leave this open for the day to think. Now, from my old experience, I was in Department of Telecom, the precursor of BSNL before becoming IAS. All of us have our phone number, which is the biggest ID today. If I lose my phone number, I will take 5 years to recover all other things which are connected. I don't know what all are connected. So for this migrant population, which is at the lowest of the low level, do they have the capacity of the, or capacity or economic wherewithal to have a mobile and maintain a mobile, even if they lose a job or if they go back to home for 3 months? So can we think of a situation where we say that this same problem was there a few years ago about bank account, which has been solved by concerted action through bank, economic department, government of India pressure, that even if you have no money, you have a right to have a bank account. The people at the bottom of the pyramid. Can we think the same about the telephone? Please discuss this, that everybody shall have a mobile at any level of, let us say, establishment or a worker registration is registered, he should have a mobile, and the employer should enable, think, when we know the key people, that acceptability may be faster. I'm not saying that it is sure, but if it is doable, it can be done in a faster way. So all these things have to be thought about in other, where the livability is concerned, not only labor law. I think labor law discussion you will be having a lot. And I have an advantage of looking at it from the view of an outsider, because being an IAS officer, I am by definition precluded from being an expert in anything. And except the students, I think all others who are here and who are going to speak are involved in this sector for a much longer time and a much bigger expert than them. But since I have passed enough years in IAS, I have some experience here. I have worked in as IT secretary, as I have worked in industry department in TIDCO and all. Currently, I am under industry department, but I am serving the MSME industry. So I have both the thing. I have worked in MSME as MSME secretary. I have worked as labor secretary. So these two are two different pillars of the ILO tripartite regime of the labor sector. And as a unique situation in the cadre, I have worked for almost 8 months simultaneously as MSME secretary and labor secretary. So you can imagine my file work, where one hand is signing as labor secretary, the other hand is signing as industry portion. So I realize that there are no easy solution when you come, because it needs to address the politics. It needs to address the social movement. It needs to address the economic equilibrium, and it needs to address the concerns of the individual, concerns of the family, and concerns of the industry or the employer. So there are lots of issues which has to be done and which can be thought during the seminar when you do and when you complete. One is the obvious thing which all of you will surely address is what to do with the Labor Act and how to implement Interstate Migrant Act or EPF, ESI, how to make it portable and all easy. These are the easiest first step. The next is every state is launching a lot of social welfare and training and other modules. Now in those things, there are some things which are open, like whether you are a migrant or non-migrant doesn't matter. If there is something called free bus for women, there we don't have to bother in this forum, because it is a free bus for women. There is a subsidized 5 rupee idli or 2 rupee idli kadai which is open to everybody. You don't have to bother. But if you have free ration, if you have other ration card linked incentive, now free ration, if you make ration card portable, do you split for a split family or not? If you split, the originating ration card eligibility is different. The load on the state of that state is different, and the load on the state of this state is different. Will there be any mechanism to sort out, or are the states magnanimous enough to say, okay, since the migrant is working here, I don't mind paying till the time. So what I'm saying is, these were an issue that it can go untracked and the number will jump. But with digitalization, we can assure that they can get it only when they are here. When they go back, then it should again be ported back. It is not, why is it so difficult to keep changing the voter card every year or ration card every year? It should not be so difficult today. When we can keep address changing, then all these things can be made. Now for that, I want this forum to come up with suggestion, because it will not be discussed with labor, it has to be discussed with the society and the other sectors of the governance. So those things have to be seen, and there are now, you see, we have something called KMUT in our government. So this is a pension scheme. So whom will you give? If somebody is a migrant at lower level, but she is living for 10 years, does she qualify? Should she get, the question starts from very small thing. Does she qualify for this? Does she qualify for ration card? If for ration card, then is for pension. Or if there is a statewide pension or a statewide insurance, will it cover migrant? That's what I said. Everything will flow from the definition of at what point, what sector can kick in and what sector can sustain and how you can administer. So these are the things which have to be thought of. And in governance, or if in law making or statute making, if you think one step, it will lead to 3 paths. Then you have to address all those 3. What happens this, what happens if this is there, what happens if the family is not there. And for everything, if what happens if violation occurs, or most of it has to be a national effort. Like you cannot have an agreement between Tamil Nadu and Kerala about how we will treat each other's migrant, or Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Then Tamil Nadu, which has a large incoming migration, it cannot go around having agreement with 10 states. It is undoable. So states like what happened in GST and other national pan-Indian things, this also is a pan-India issue. The solution has to come out of the dialogue where every state, society, industry, government, with the national level, all of them have to be on board to have a meaningful solution for that. So the thinking on be those lines. Then these days there are a lot of skill portals and government job portals at the national level or the state level. Can these be made easier for migrants to self-register? Like Shram Shakti, you have said it is open also and all, but there are things which may look odd today, that if you say we will go mainly by self-registration, you will say they are not aware today that every migrant doesn't have the wherewithal to go and register himself that I am a Bihari, I have registered in Tamil Nadu, or I am an Odisha person working in Kerala. But with the awareness, if you are able to give them a mobile, maybe a time will come sooner rather than later when the self-registration will become the top mode of registration from Shram Shakti and other portals, where they can be easily tracked, especially when they start seeing the benefit. And the slightly better educated and slightly better internet aware people are starting to come into the workforce. So they will automatically, because since kids they have been operating or they have seen others operating on this, so they will be easily coming to operate. Is that there is something called climate change. Now migrants at the forefront are at the forefront of bearing this problem. Last year you would have seen in this 25 summer, first time National Disaster Management Agency issued it as a heat wave directive. From the states, the disaster management authorities issued directives under the Disaster Management Act that open area construction sector should not work in the open in daytime. Drinking water should be compulsory. Give more water, give holiday, give this, all these things. Now, with the way world is going, I am sure the time has now come to put it into statute inside the actual functional statutes. Because See, a long time ago, if you see agricultural practices in the villages, if the crop cutting was around summertime, they used to work from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Then they'll go off to sleep. Evening 4 to 6, 7 o'clock they will eat and then sleep because there used to be no electricity. So their working time is 4 o'clock to 6 or 6:37. 4 a.m. to 7 p.m. is the lifetime of a farming community in the village. Can this be taught in industry? We are already doing, if you see metro working or flyover or road construction, mostly it happens in off time, weekends, nights. For standard construction, can there be a concerted effort that the work should happen, start at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, finish at 10, 11, then the next day is free. So it is not that if we say, okay, 6 o'clock, how will we start? Because we sleep at 11. But if you have a group of workers, you say that your work time is 6 to 11, then you would like to sleep early and happy to report at 6 or 5:30, or if he's living on site or is bus to the site, at least in open area. So these type of things, instead of thinking ad hoc when April arrives or May arrives, can we have these type of thinkings built into the different working things? Then the most important point was raised by Mr. Saji, that the era is not of confrontation. It's a tripartite dialogue which it happens between the employee, employer and governance. It has to be mutually sustainable and constructive. Because you would have seen what is happening if we talk of a country. India is at a problematic phase today because we don't want to be known as a continuous, dedicated friend of anybody. In today's geopolitics, it is a very, very dangerous word that I am in this camp or that camp. So for foreseeable future, we will remain in an independent country thinking of our interest step by step. But that has in its own advantage that sometimes, like today, we will be landing in trouble. Whether you can buy oil here or not there, or if you do not stop buying from Russia, this is the tariff. If you don't buy from Iran, the next is this is the tariff. If you don't support, give a statement that Denmark should withdraw from Greenland, this is the extra tariff. So you can't imagine what type of problem will come to the economy, to the industry, and at the end, the hardest hit will be the worker, and among the worker, migrant workers. So those things, a better social sector, we have to realize it today. And for that, understanding approach on all sides have to be there. You cannot have a local thinking or localized thinking or restrictive thinking that, okay, something has to be maximized. The maximization should be of the whole society's output and the well-being of everybody, including the labor and the migrant labor. So with these thoughts, I just close my address, and I hope and wish all the best to the critical thinking. I thank Mr. Sunil Mishra for keeping the last session. Please don't skip the last session, because that reflections should come out after the whole day discussion, and that should form the working paper for every step in this path towards when they are taking. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for a deeply insightful keynote that bridges policy, industry growth, and social responsibility. We are grateful for your time and support. To formally conclude the inaugural session, may I invite Mr. C. Devarajan, Vice Chairman, CII Tamil Nadu State, and Managing Director, URC Constructions Limited, to deliver the closing remarks.
Loga Samasta Suhino Bhavantu. Good morning, rather good afternoon to all of you. Dear Mr. Kumar Jayant, IAS Chairman and Managing Director, Tamil Nadu Industrial Investment Corporation, Mrs. Anuja Bapat, Deputy Director General, Ministry of Micro and Small Medium Enterprises, Mr. C.K. Saji Narayanan, former National President, Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, Mr. Sanjay Avasi, Head of Office, International Organization of Migration, Mr. Sankar Vanvarayar, Chairman, CII National Task Force on Rural Development and Migration Workforce, and President Kumaraguru Institutions and Executive Director, ABT Industries. A very warm greetings to all of you. I extend my heartful gratitude to all distinguished speakers partners and delegates who have joined us for this important dialogue. At this juncture, I make a request to Mr. Kumar Jayan that being a first time with the effort of Mr. Shankar, this task force is formed. There is a long way to go, but with your suggestion, with the technology, digital and all those things, like we have implemented GST or the other card, you may be our advisor in a sincere sense. I am saying this because I have closely interacted with you. I can say worked with you in textile and other some important aspects. Your thoughts and ideas are always path-breaking or deep in thinking, so we request you to guide us because this is a very important national issue. Like you said, we should look at it like a national issue, and we are one nation, like one ration card. This has to be looked at like that. There are issues, but this is high time, like our BMS friend has said. We cannot leave this issue and grow and become what we are aspiring to become. And migrant workforce contributes significantly across construction, manufacturing, logistics, textiles, agriculture, services, and the care economy. Their mobility supports productivity, fills skill and labor gaps, and enable industries and cities to function efficiently. At the same time, the inaugural session has clearly highlighted that economic dependence on migrant labor must be matched by stronger systems of protection, inclusion, and dignity. We are deeply honored by your presence and grateful that you have taken the time to be part of this important dialogue. This gathering brings together voices that are not often in the same room: government, employers, workers, experts, and advocates, and that makes today special. A key message from the inaugural session is the need to reframe how we view migrant workers. They should not be seen only as labor inputs, but as partners in the growth and nation building. I personally feel they are the moving diamonds whom has to be taken care. How do we care diamond like that? They are to be taken care. I am one who is part of 20,000 workforce where we experience every day how good we should be on a continuous basis so that we can make them feel comfortable and continuously engage themselves with us. And investing in their well-being through skill development, healthcare success, social security, and financial inclusion directly contributes to productivity, stability, and long-term economic resilience. Inclusive labor practices are therefore aligned with both social responsibility and business sustainability. I want to reaffirm the points mentioned by Ms. Shankar. We urge participants to challenge assumptions, share evidence, and bring lived experiences into the conversation. Our objective is not simply to exchange views, but to identify concrete pathways for action. No single institution can address migrant workforce challenges in isolation. The inaugural session has emphasized the importance of collaboration between industry and government, sending and receiving states, employers, contractors, and workers' representatives, and civil society and academic institutions. Building trust across these stakeholders is essential for designing policies and practices that work on the ground. I would also like to place on record that today, CII National Roundtable on Migrant Workforce has the support and its precursor to the AI Impact Summit being organized by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. On behalf of CII, a very special thanks to Tamil Nadu Industrial Investment Corporation Limited, TIC, and Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, who have helped us to conceptualize this program, our academic partner Kumaraguru Institution for hosting this national roundtable, and the complete team associate partner Saram, Gaurav, knowledge partner EY, and theme partner DTF, and would also like to mention and appreciate for the delegates for joining us today. I look forward to engaging insightful and solution-oriented sessions ahead that will help advance meaningful action on migrant workforce issues. It's a great beginning for a noble cause, and let us all commit ourselves to actively involve and make this effort a meaningful and outcome-based effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for those thoughtful reflections that connect the vision of the morning to the deeper discussions ahead. May I now request Sri Shankar Vanavrayar to honor the dignitaries on the dais by presenting them with mementos. Thank you, sir, for doing the honors. May I request all the dignitaries on the dais to kindly step forward for a photo op. Thank you, dignitaries. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to Swami Vivekananda Hall for the thematic panel discussions. All the panel discussions will be held at Swami Vivekananda Hall, located just opposite to this venue. We are beginning the panel discussion right away, so we request all the delegates to kindly proceed to the venue. Also, the students of social work, economics, and political science are informed to move to Swami Vivekananda Hall for the panel discussions. Thank you.